Okay, guys, this is my predictions for UFC 128. Sorry for it being so late, guys. I've been really, I got a comp coming up on this Saturday, the Naga competition for Jiu-Jitsu in St. Louis, so I've been cutting weight and working out. I've really been focused on that, so I really haven't had time to do the videos, do the video and edit it like I want to. So this is going to be just a regular streamlined video, no editing and no pictures and all that other stuff. So it's just for this week, guys. Bear with me. But anyway, let's first start off with Cro Cop versus Brendan Schaub. This is a very interesting fight because, you know, once again, we have a guy who really, I mean, most guys do respect Cro Cop, but he's kind of admiring him a little bit, kind of like Pat Barry did. But he's saying that, you know, once we get in the cage and, you know, it all stops and whatnot, and hopefully that won't lose his focus. But everybody knows that Cro Cop has, you know, powerful kicks and whatnot. But I've been really doubting Cro Cop's his drive to really stay in the MMA business. It looks like he's really trying to find a way out. Like he really just wants to quit and retire. He's been saying that, you know, if he loses this match, then he's definitely going to retire, and he wants to go do something else in politics and whatnot. And I think that he's really just looking for an excuse just to quit. And he doesn't have the same drive as he used to. And you know, Brendan Schaub is coming in there, and he has the drive. He's on a winning streak. He wants to come in there, and he wants to get up to that top contender of the heavyweights, and he wants to be in the mix. And I see Brendan coming in there and really just controlling Cro Cop with his boxing, and, you know, and staying on the outside and staying away from those kicks. And giving Cro Cop that exit that he wants, giving him a reason why he needs to retire. And I just really see Brendan going in there and really taking control of Cro Cop and probably beating him in the second round due to strikes, get him on the ground and ground and pound. Next, we're gonna go to Nate Marquardt and Dan Miller. You know, this is an interesting fight also too, because Dan Miller wasn't supposed to fight Nate Marquardt. He was supposed to be Akiyama versus Nate. But, you know, with the whole Japan tsunami and all that other stuff, earthquake and all that stuff going on, Akiyama had to leave, obviously because of his family is from Japan. So Dan Miller stepped in, and you know, I think Dan Miller has a really good chance of winning this fight if he gets Nate to the ground, Nate the Great to the ground, and really, you know, making him and submitting him. But I really think that Nate's striking ability is going to make this match, his wrestling ability and his striking ability is going to make this a really one-sided match. And I don't think that Dan Miller will be able to control Nate to get him to the ground to submit him, unless it's some type of thing to where Nate takes Dan Miller down and Dan Miller, you know, does a submission or something like that. But I don't think it will be on Dan Miller's time and when he wants to take Nate down. I think Nate is going to really control him with his striking and his powerful striking on top of that. And really, I think he's going to pretty much KO Dan Miller. Probably in I would say, the second round is going to KO. Then we have Uriah Faber versus Eddie Wineland. You know, Wineland, I think he was a WEC bantamweight, a former bantamweight champion. Everybody knows Uriah Faber. You know, he went down in weight. And he's on his winning streak right now. Eddie Wineland, I think he's on a 4-winning streak also. Eddie has, you know, he's strong in the striking ability. Uriah, he's good in the striking ability also. He mixes it up more instead of just using strictly boxing. Eddie Wineland's weakness is his ground game, which is Uriah's Faber's strength. And I think that Uriah Faber is going to basically take Eddie down. at will and submit him probably in the second round also. I know I'm going with a lot of second rounds, but that's really what I feel. Faber is just going to go in there and just get his, he really wants to be at the top to where he gets that championship. He's the number one contender for that championship belt. Then we have, I think it's Jim Miller. Jim Miller versus Camel, Saralos. I really think Jim Miller's going to go in there. I'm going to make this real simple, sweet and simple. Jim Miller's going to go in there and do what he normally does. And I think he's going to bang, and he's going to, do the same thing that his brother does, is pretty much use the submission game to really control Camel and go in there and submit him. Now let's move on to the lightweight championship. We got Shogun versus Jon Jones. A very, very, very good fight. Rashad was supposed to fight Shogun, but Rashad got hurt. So we're basically looking at Jon Jones, which is a training partner of Rashad. I believe they're in the same camp, with some controversy going on with that, with if they're going to stay in the same camp if Jon Jones wins. But before we even get there, we have Shogun, which is an excellent striker, as we know. Knees, kicks, punching. Just got done beating Machida decisively. Going against Jon Jones, who is a very unorthodox fighter. All types of crazy moves, spinning back elbows, and his wrestling, suplexes. His reach is super, super long. What can I say? I mean, the thing with Shogun is that I still think that everyone thinks like, oh, Shogun's back, he, But I believe that Shogun, styles makes fights, guys. And with Shogun style versus Machida style, it works perfectly. But when you have someone like Shogun going against Mark Coleman, or when he had trouble against Forrest Griffin, somebody who's like in your face, taking it to you, wrestling on top of you, just crowding your space, not giving you time to think about where you're going to strike and all this other stuff, then Shogun has a hard time. He hasn't had that real adjustment to the UFC as everyone else has. Yes, he's the champion. He beat Machida. But when he went against Machida, it was I get to sit back and think about what I'm going to do, because Machida is a counter striker. And what he did was he implemented his style on Machida. Do I think he's going to be able to do that with Jon Jones? No. I think Jon Jones is going to be in his ass. He's going to, wrestle him to death. He's going to be on top. He's going to push him against the cage. He's going to make him work. And I just don't think that Shogun is going to be able to keep up with Jon Jones and the pace that he's going to set. And he's going to make a mistake and get submitted, outstruck or something. But I just think that it's in the third round in this fight, he's just going to break down from being tired. I think he's going to break down from being pressured all day, and he's going to make a huge mistake and get outstruck. And that's my thought process on that. So, next big news, as you heard this week, UFC bought out Strikeforce, which was excellent, came totally out of the blue. I was coming back from training and saw it on my phone that they had bought out Strikeforce, which is excellent. Hopefully we'll see some of these big fights that, like Overeem versus some of the guys in the UFC, or Gilbert Melendez versus some other lightweights. At first Dana was like, business as usual. We're not going to cross promote. Then I listened to one of the next day they had a conference, and the Fertittas basically said, yeah, we would like to do those super fights, and we have no problem cross promoting. But they're really saying that they're going to keep Strikeforce as a separate league. I don't know if it's going to be like a D league or what. But I'm telling you guys, it's only because there are contracts with Strikeforce and Showtime and their CBS and all this other stuff. I'm telling you, once that stuff disappears, they're going to combine it because it just makes no sense to have these two leagues. And it's only because they're honoring the contract, and then they're going to merge it. Just like he did Pride, just like he did WEC, it's just they're going to merge it, and everybody's going to be underneath one umbrella. And I can't wait for that day to come. Some excellent fights. And it'll basically force some of these guys who don't want to, like M1 Global, these guys who, we only co-promote, where they'll have to fight with the UFC because there's no one else to negotiate with in the U.S. If you want to be in the U.S. market, you will have to go to the UFC. There's no one else. If not, then you'll be unknown over in Japan in their crumbling MMA market, or Russia and their non-existent MMA. You know, you would just be doing sambo matches. Fedor would just be doing sambo matches, especially with him on his losing streak, whatnot. He really needs to jump in there with some competitors, and he really needs to jump down to light heavy, to be honest. And I can't wait for these two guys to get stuff together. But on top of that, too, I don't know if you guys played that EA MMA crap game, but now I'm telling you that EA MMA video game is non-existent. I don't even think they're going to make a part 2 because, first of all, they were going to make a part 2 even though they had shitty sales. But now they're not going to make a part 2 because now they have no fighters under contract. I doubt that the UFC is going to allow them to make a video game underneath using going against their own UFC fighters. So who knows? We'll see how that turns out. But anyway, guys, thanks for watching my video. I know I don't have all the editing and stuff like that, but wish me luck tomorrow on my Naga fight. Hopefully I come out on a win. I will videotape it and put it on YouTube so you guys can take a look at it. Even if I lose, I'm still going to put it on YouTube. So if you like my video, please rate, comment, and subscribe. Thanks.